Good morning, and welcome to your Wall Street Journal market report. If you've been watching the charts this week, you've seen something rarely witnessed in the quiet halls of commodity trading. Gold and silver didn't just move, they caught fire. While the rest of the markets were looking at tech stocks and retail numbers, the old money, the hard assets were staging a massive breakout. Gold began the week with a steady climb driven by a growing consensus among institutional analysts. According to the latest data from the World Gold Council, central bank demands remain at historic highs, providing a titanium floor for the yellow metal. But the real spark this week came from the Bureau of Labor Statistics when the latest employment figures showed a cooling labor market. The smart money pivoted. The expectation of an upcoming Federal Reserve rate cut acted like jet fuel, pushing gold towards its all-time resistance levels as investors fled the weakening dollar for the safety of the vault. More on that in a little bit. But if gold was the steady veteran, silver was the superstar. This week, silver outperformed gold nearly 2-1 in the margin. Why? Because the world is facing a math problem it can no longer ignore. Industry reports from the Silver Institute confirm that we are entering our fourth consecutive year of structural supply deficit. The story in the pits this week was about solar and silicon. As global manufacturing for green energy ramps up, the physical inventories of silver are being drained faster than they can be replenished. Traders are no longer just betting on interest rates, they're betting on a physical shortage. Here's the big picture. As we close the week, the sentiment is overwhelmingly bullish. Analysts at major firms like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan have noted that geopolitical risk premiums are being baked into the price as uncertainty in global trade routes keep buyers on edge. We have seen many big moving parts, especially in China. And as a commodity like silver and gold, it's hard to really understand how this works compared to, let's say, stocks in the stock market, because if I'm a company that's in the American stock market, that's kind of the home where all of the price is set and traded upon, whereas a commodity like silver has many markets throughout the world, and the supply on a specific country might actually affect demand in a way that isn't seen on our shores. And so we do have multiple metrics of supply and demand happening outside of the United States. So whether it's the fear of a slowing economy or the reality of an industrial shortage, the message from the markets this week is clear. In a world of paper promises, the world is looking for something they can hold in their hands. And just to remind you, this video is sponsored by APMEX, the American Precious Metals Exchange. It's where I buy my silver as a collector. I am somebody who loves silver from around the world, telling the stories of people, histories, cultures, all of the things from this great planet we live on. So when I go to APMEX, I always find products I have not seen before, which is why I continue to buy from them. That being said, let's go ahead and take a look at what the markets did this week, because it's not all doom and gloom, folks. It's not all silver and gold. There are instances where all things are moving in good accord. Look here. Silver made the front page right there. I've highlighted it. U.S. stocks held close to all-time highs while running up precious metals continues, lifting gold and silver futures on record. All right, so as always, we'll start here with the Dow Jones Industrial, and look what we have here, folks. As you can see, 47.10, down 20 points on the day, but still right there on an all-time high, as you can see on Christmas Eve. Don't you love to see that? And we can see it indicated by the roller coaster, the high point right there, Christmas Eve. So we are right now just on the cusp of a all-time high right there in the Dow Jones. It's great. S&P, we have 6929, down 2 points there. once again, all-time high Christmas Eve. So we are fresh on the all-time high on 2 of the 3 markets. The NASDAQ didn't quite make the cut, but it is moving in the right direction. 23,539, down 20 points. Our all-time high is still sitting there around Halloween, as you can see. So all-time high is here, and we are moving in the right direction, but do we have a ceiling? I don't know. And check a look at this. We don't see this very often, but being a holiday, it kind of actually brightens my day to see all of these closed markets. And why would that brighten my day? Well, it's not a war that's caused all of these to be closed. That's only the Israel one. What is closing all of these markets is Christmas, and it reminds me that the day that I love so dear is celebrated around the world, and that brings me joy. We do have a couple of markets here in Asia Pacific. Japan, as we can see, is up 0.68. South Korea up a half a point there, or half a percentage. Taiwan 0.65. Thailand comes down at negative 0.44. And something we talked about in the opening was the weakening of the dollar. Here's a little chart to show you the disparity that's going on. We see the yen is also not moving in the right direction. The euro tends to be moving up a little bit, but the weakening of the dollar is something that has also played a huge factor this year on silver and gold prices. But now that we've invoked the name of silver, let's go ahead and take a look at what it has done. It seems like every single time I look at the price, it's higher than I thought was possible. So as we see, for this week, silver has risen another $11.88, almost $12 on the week. It is sitting at $79.59, which means we're likely to see 80 by the end of the year, which is a place I never thought I would be at, at least in the 3 years ahead of us. But here we are, folks. That means that this week, 17.55% on the week. And yes, that does mean year to date, silver has grown $50, and that is 173%. Who would have ever thought that that would have been the case? And just in case somebody says this is a one-time thing and silver very well could have the floor open up and it fall completely down flat, that is always possible, folks. But when I look at the 5-year and I contrast that with the Dow Jones and the S&P, you will see that over the 5 years, silver has been very similar in movement to the markets. It has actually beat them many times over those past 5 years. And there's been a couple where they've been very close, but they pretty much stayed in line with that. So the question is, if silver were to fall, would it ever fall below what the S&P and Dow Jones is doing? That's something I don't know. And I don't think anybody who claims to know should be taken seriously. This is uncharted water. We don't have a map for this. We can definitely hypothesize, but anybody who claims they know, I would definitely run from, because there's no way to know these things. When we look at gold, very interesting as well, the week that they had, as it sits at $4,549 an ounce, up almost $200, $193. That's 4% on the week. And year to date, that means gold is sitting at 72% on the year, which is absolutely crazy. Almost $2,000 gained, but that is 100% less than what silver has done. That's crazy to me. So that being said, metals are absolutely destroying the competition. The question is, for how long is this the case, and is it permanent? I don't have the answers to that. Maybe you do, and I'd love to know that in the comments below. But until next time, please remember to stay classy and current with the culture of currency.